Hi there. So after some putzing around with crafting, I actually did end up changing my mind on a couple of setups here. So, first of all, as far as their equipment goes, I ditched the knife idea because it turns out iron fans are inexplicably stronger than most other things here and also have a stun on hit. I knew about the stun, I completely forgot how good their stats were, and actually, kind of judging by this, if somebody's got a ninja and they've got double iron fans, then that'd be pretty good. Went for upgraded peltas, because they actually have stun proof on them, for whatever reason. I don't know why these are specifically so overpowered compared to the other ones just being slightly better. Anyhow, it does give parry. I would prefer deflect, since with parry and deflect, parry is just a second roll to potentially block something that got past the hit chance, and deflect is the same thing for arrows. So these are just for melee. There's a bigger chance that they're gonna get hit by arrows, as most of the time they're facing the guy that they're attacking. So went for fans and shields on these guys. I went for a knife and Caldia on her. Knife just for the silence effect, although it is pretty darn good. I think 54 and yeah, 64 on the hammer, so it's better than the upgrade knives anyway. And the Caldia is just there because it can be used as a charm. So hopefully can turn some people to my side with that. Normally I don't rely on that too much, and I don't know how well that'll work, so that's just kind of a definite maybe. I made an extra couple shields, just in case. So the rest of the frontliners have this set up. Made these Volges before. Also, by the way, these fans have extras against people, so that works just fine for them. And bows have extras against reptiles, and also slightly lower damage than the iron fans still. And they're generally useless in other cases, but I guess in this case it works pretty well. And they have a good chance to do a knockback. Now, it doesn't say what rank it is. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a rank 1 or something like that, so probably about 25% chance to knock somebody backwards. Not terribly useful, but, you know, it's pretty alright. Helps to keep people at a distance. And would have liked... I would have liked to make some upgraded jewelry for them. But these things... Like, okay, I would make them all war rings and stuff like that, but A, the success rate sucks. And, actually, I'm not sure if I can even make platinum as of yet. Can I? Oh, I guess I can. So, I can make all of this fancy stuff here, but I do not really have the money to make that happen right now. So, a little bit short on money. That method I mentioned about crystallis ores. So if you make them, you make about a $55 profit per, but unfortunately, I was kind of counting on the fact that frame skipping would maybe help speed this whole process up, and it turns out all that does is make the screen flicker. It doesn't actually fast forward a single thing in this scenario, so that sucks. But at any rate, that's about all that's needed for now. Unfortunately, most of this stuff won't be particularly necessary, because I can get some free mend leaves out of it. But you do need to have higher skills to even use most of the upgraded medical items. Actually, I think all of them. I think just mend leaf, magic leaf, and a couple buff items are all you can really use. And I think the tarot cards. Which again, are just basically buff items. Yeah, all these are just crafting items down here. Alchemy. That's allowed. That isn't. That isn't. Can get rid of silence. Can get rid of stun. Okay, sleep and charm. Can get rid of those. That's good. But most of the rest of this, not so much. So it's a funny thing, the Fruit of the Adepts that they have there was one of the better healing items in the original version. I want to say it was like 100 health, 100 HP or something like that. And for some reason they changed it to 10% and 10% in this version. which just seems to kind of make it useless throughout the entire game. So, alright. That did for a weird way of speaking for this guy. So usually in the Chaos route, you're dealing with a lot of bounty hunters. And at this point, if you have RSL, I think she does actually back you up, but no. He's a bounty hunter, but he also isn't there for the bounty, which is conveniently there for him. Now, this is the first time we run into a ninja. They're very good at moving through weird terrain and stuff like that as far as their innate stuff, but he is very squishy. Next turn should be able to... Actually, maybe even this turn. Should be able to take him out pretty easily. Now again, I could be wrong if this is a different guy or somebody with a similar name, but I believe there is a Genzo that you fight in the Law route. And he ends up going over to the Liberation Front, I think, because you end up fighting a ninja with a very similar name, and he's basically recruiting for them in that path, and you fight him around the same time. So he's just there recruiting for him, and basically admits that he's kind of a bit screwed because he doesn't have a chance. He actually has a much worse party in that fight. You apply that point of ceiling. Smack him the band-aid. Prefer to not move, but I wasn't sure if he'd be able to make the shot from his other spot. The only downside to having additional effects on the bow is unless they're in a position like this, like where if it does proc a knockback in this position, it'll just do a little bit of extra damage, but if he's not in that sort of position, it'll just end up pushing him out of range. I should have used the spot right next to him. Probably would have been a win right there. So if you are skill point grinding, there's a lot of little fights kind of near anchor points that are very quick to do. So if you have a few flying units kind of fighting up to this point, I've seen some people recommend that as one of the potential ways to grind up a lot of SP. I know early on, you can do that, some of those boss fights early on for a good amount of the stuff too. Because basically, as long as you win the fight, you get the same amount, and you don't really have to actually keep the fight going, so the quicker you end it, the better. I haven't seen this thing proc yet, so it's more than likely a rank one. Alright, so... let's see how well this works. I mean, 33%, that's not terrible. I haven't actually seen her go down yet, so I'm pretty sure she'll do pretty good in that job. That was ridiculous. There's some screwy balance on these fans for sure. That's a friggin' dragon. We were doing like 12s to those things before. And I guess that's another kind of interesting explanation on this. The way damage is modeled is hard to follow. It seems like there's just sort of a base minimum for any damage to go through. And then it drops off really quickly any point past 100. And as far as I've seen, nobody's really been able to figure out how exactly the numbers work. Every time I find a forum post over, how to figure out your exact damage numbers, there's like friggin' 5 pages of flowcharts and stuff like that of all kinds of different damage under different circumstances, different people on different levels. It's like the same equipment, the same stat difference, but some other tiny thing made a difference, so suddenly it's all different. I don't know. It was mysterious, that's for sure. Unfortunately, though, I think that also might be part of the reason that nobody's made a hack of this game yet. Because as nice as it is, if this had a good, like, something like FFT 1.3 for it, or something like a hack of the original of this, you know, maybe something that introduces the old One Life system again or something, it'd be really awesome. I mean, I know some people found some cheats that worked for it, but even then it was very funky at best. Oh yeah, so they arrested Lancelot, you know, despite the fact that he was clearly helping them. And Vyce is now a bad guy. He kind of just goes full crazy at Blamusa if you end up going the Chaos route. If you go the Law route, he basically becomes the leader. I mean, either way, he gets a similar class. In this one, he becomes an assassin, which seems to be the same as the Ranger one, just slightly different. And yeah, no matter what, his sister always seems to take his side, like, even if you become a friggin' psycho murderer guy. Still there? No, gotta stick by the brother. Until suddenly, partway through, somebody tells her, hey, you're royalty, at which point she just friggin' up and bails. So, I don't know what that implies exactly. Call I mean, I see women and dragons and friggin' clay people. I don't see any men there, guy. Well, I want to say his assassin class is a little bit better defensively than his ranger one, because he always seems to be harder to fight when he's in this route. I mean, either way, he becomes kind of like a multi-attacker. So he's functionally an upgraded ninja in this condition. His other class is kind of like a mixed melee, ranged, and also double attacker type of situation. Sadly, double attack does not work with crossbows, which is what I was trying to do with him. And yeah, at this point he just kind of starts justifying it. Oh yeah, no, we totally murdered all these people for a reason. And also totally betrayed all the, you know, childhood friends for a reason. That later guy must totally not be crazy. Actually, the Duke, now that... I don't think there is actually any way for the Duke to actually survive through to the end of the game. Like, a lot of the other characters can. I don't think any of the main, like, a-hole leaders actually can. Let's see, the Bishop guy, or whatever the hell he is. He's got some religious title I can't remember at the moment. He either gets stabbed in his office, I think in another one he gets executed. What else? I think in the last, Neutral, I think he just dies fighting. Because yeah, you have a boss fight against him. And the Duke either gets assassinated, killed off by Lenner. And I think he just kind of disappears in one of them? No, I think he also gets executed in one of the other ones. Either way, that guy's a dick. I mean, both of them are. The one that kind of looks like the Branton Morn guy. Kind of looks like that, one of them, that King Elf guy from Lord of the Rings. I was kind of wondering if that's a reference. This right here is why dragoons aren't very good, unless you have them for dragon killing. Like, when it comes to dragon killing, they can pretty much one-shot dragons later on. Like, as soon as they get a few points saved up and they can turn on their ability, they can just chain kill every dragon on the map. You really don't ever need more than one or two. But by themselves, they're not very good. Even with all their ability. You get us a pet dragon? Yes. Not that it's needed. This is an easy fight. I think this is just supposed to be kind of your first letting you know that he's a bad guy fight. This is kind of questionable at the beginning of the game. I mean, he brings only squishy units except for his two monster units, of which only the dragon can actually take any hits. There goes the charm. He rejoined their side by eating a mace to the face. So Vyce can be kind of deadly. Again, because we only have 3 classes, a little bit over-leveled at this point. That is perfectly fine. Still kind of undecided on introducing a 4th class. I don't know who can use blowguns, so I might end up keeping a couple rogues around. Like, especially by level 20, I want somebody that can use Petrodart blowguns. And those are exactly what they sound like. Basically dart guns that, well, have something like a 20% chance of petrifying on hit. Which is a tad broken. And unlike magic and all that, you don't have to actually have any kind of ways to get around resistance or any of that. Unless they're full-on immune to it, it's gonna hit them. I basically said you can't go to Aston, but, well, seems like he kind of went against his obvious wishes there. Although you find out later on, really all he cares about is having a rival. Now, I will be right back. I have a puppy that is freaking the hell out at something.